It's a poison. That doesn't help the stress level. No, don't do it. Get a grip. This stupid video I just showed you. I almost stroked out and died over it. You're watching a different show. It's donkey. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship. Don't do this to me, Harry. The Ohio State. It's Ohio State. What do you mean, the? 312-988-15.
Hello?
You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Welcome back, folks, to a Football Friday edition of the Always Irish Show. As always, thanks for being here. We have some new information to discuss. It's awesome. We've had pretty good luck with it being the off season and usually a time where there isn't much going on. You're always going to have the recruiting stuff in the background, but we've had some news to cover with the USC drama and now these CFP changes. And I knew this was coming. Gosh, I love this chat. Usually, not Wednesday, but usually I love this chat. I like the debate. Okay, you have this CFP change, and there's some ways where it benefits the Irish, and there are a couple of little concerns with it. And I was wondering how long it would take us to get there, and Pat jumped all over it. And so we have some things to go over here, and then really talk about where Notre Dame falls in all this, and if it's good or bad, and whatever. And so it's going to be a really interesting topic today. 312-988-15. I want to know what you think about these CFP changes. And if you like it for Notre Dame and the sport and whatever. So it's going to be a really interesting ride. I can't wait to see your guys' angles on this. Also, something else. I'm still going live Monday, man. People are off work. You're sleeping in, you're hungover, whatever. I'm still going live. So be here Monday morning, normal time. Will it be straight seating except for Notre Dame? No. Notre Dame can be included in the top 4 if they're ranked in the top 4 with the changes. So Notre Dame, that part is kind of gone, that Notre Dame can only be the 5 or whatever. In this new dynamic, Notre Dame is allowed to get in the top 4 and have a bye. They don't have that penalty anymore. So I will get into that if that's good negotiating by Babak. Well, whatever you guys think, we'll get into it. So that's what we're going to do. I see a couple callers already. I'm going to try and get to them early, and we'll go from there. It's great to see everybody on a Friday. All the regulars are here. I love you guys, man. Sean Duffy says, good morning, John. Son of a buck. Oh, and I still got a son of a buck theme video to come out too. Don't think I forgot about that. Don't think I forgot. I got a good son of a buck. Explain this. Por favor. I ain't speaking in foreign tongues, but we're going to go over it. As always, thanks for being here. You can find a program on the website known as YouTube. Hit subscribe if you haven't yet. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Johnny Boy as well. Notifications on that way you don't miss nothing. Twitter, search bar Always Irish or at Always Irish. Emails alwaysirishnd@gmail.com. Audio only, anywhere you want it, you can get it. You don't want to see my stupid face. Who's going to blame you for that? Go to the audio only. Go to the audio only, man. I don't expect nobody to sit there and spend their morning looking at my mug, man. Bro, go to audio only and you can deliver your packages, mow your lawn, and not have to see me. John only speaks Spanish when he's talking. Oh, that's inappropriate, Jay Carr. Yeah, I'm a smooth talker, man. I pull out the Italian. I don't know. I don't speak no languages, man. My brain just doesn't work. Some of these people, I'm fluent in 6 languages. Bro, I'm not even fluent in 1. I'm 40 years old. I don't have the brain capacity to be learning no other languages, man. Call in lines. They're popping already. 312-988-15. Notre Dame Fighting Irish brought to you by SI. Read all about it. Patreon.com/Always Irish. The former captain, the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby and myself breaking it all down. So, thanks for being here, everybody. We got some CFP changes. I think it's one that everybody probably saw coming. Probably everybody saw coming. And here's what they're going to do. Here's what they're going to do. After seeing the first year of the CFP and the 12-team model, the powers that be, which includes Pete Bavacqua of Notre Dame and the other power players, they're making a big change. Unlike last year where the top 4 ranked, it never made any sense what they did before. It just never made any sense, people. To automatically reward the winner of a conference that doesn't play a tough schedule that everybody respects, to give them a bye and one of those prize spots never made any sense. But on the surface, you could see how egalitarian and equal that felt. You could see the theory that would be fair, that you have these 4 conferences. And so you're gonna reward the winners of those conferences with the bye and the top 4 spots. Okay. On the surface, I totally understand it. But it's not that simple. There is no way anybody could tell me that those that Boise State and Arizona State played a schedule that warranted being automatically in one of those byes or whatever. You can't tell me that that's a tough schedule like the Big Ten or the SEC and that those are on equal footing to be able to reward that. You can't do it. You can't make that argument. And proof of this is they were ranked 11th and 9th. Right? Like, if you're like, what do you mean? Prove it. They weren't even ranked that high. So you had teams that were ranked 11th and 9th that end up moving all the way up into these bye spots. That never made much sense. Okay. So on the surface, though, it seemed as fair could be. I got 4 major conferences left. We're going to do this with each of the 4. But they're not all built equal. They don't all have an equal amount of teams. The toughness of the schedule week in and week out, how many top 10 teams you would play within them. It didn't line up. It didn't line up. Okay. So now the powers that be are doing away with that. And it's straight seeding 1 through 12, and then 1 through 4, get the bye whatever conference they come from, or Notre Dame. And that's where this gets real juicy, okay? Because now Notre Dame is eligible to get in that top 4. If you remember last time, the highest Notre Dame could be was number 5. All right? So even if you were undefeated and ranked number 2, the highest Notre Dame could be is number 5 in the old model. Now Notre Dame's eligible to get in that top 4. So there's a couple different angles here. One is good negotiation by Bavacqua to get rid of that Notre Dame tax, and now you're eligible for a bye. Okay. So you have that part of it, but maybe there are some downsides here. Okay. Talking about a longer layoff for Notre Dame. That's what Pat's angle was. He went right to it is you're going to have a long layoff if you're Notre Dame because you're not going to have the conference championship. And then if you're in that top 4, then you're going to be off then as well. So you're going to have like a double bye situation for Notre Dame. You're going to end up with a long layoff. So then there's the debate of if that's good or bad for Notre Dame. I don't know. My answer to that is I don't know. You want to tell me how healthy Notre Dame is? Like I don't know if there's a clear answer to that. You could have years where I go, yeah, we're rolling. Keep it playing. I don't want time off. And you could have other situations where you're like, Notre Dame's really beat off. And now you got like a month to prepare for the playoff and get guys healthy. Maybe that's a good thing. So it's really interesting. So this change, you could argue, is the most logical thing, and it makes sense. Jay Grizz, you can't have your cake and eat it too, Johnny. I don't know what you mean. I don't think I'm trying to like squeeze some weird angle in here. What do you mean by that, Jay Grizz? Extrapolate, explain, walk that one out for me. So you end up in a situation where I think you can't argue this isn't probably more fair. Like, is this a situation where we're honestly going to say that the powers that be made logic and it makes sense? Like, is that, are we at a spot where I'm going to actually come on here and say the powers that be did something logical and it totally makes sense? Like, and it seems more fair. Is that what I'm going to do? I'm happy to do it. So I don't know, man. What am I mean, I'd rather be eligible than not. Yeah, I understand that. I'm not saying I don't want you to have a bye because here's the thought. Callers, I'm coming to you. Here's the thought. There's two different issues here to think about. Okay. One is the worry, like Pat said in the chat before we started. Callers, I'm coming right to you. I want to hear what you think about this. I promise. Pat's saying, I don't like this double layoff Notre Dame could have now if you're in the top four. You're not playing a conference championship. There's a break. Then you have a bye in the first round. There's another break. Okay. And Pat's saying, I don't like that long layoff. There's two different things to consider. One is that layoff good or bad for Notre Dame? And I would argue it depends on the year. If you need a lot of time to heal up, you could argue it's good. If you got it rolling and you want to just keep playing, then you would rather do that, right? But that is a separate, you can't blend that part of the angle with the angle that it's just a lot easier to win 3 games than 4 games. Do you get what I'm saying, how I'm separating these out? Do you get what I mean? Those are different things. Join a conference. I don't need to join a conference right now. I don't need to. Why? I don't need to. Why would we need? You keep saying join the conference. We don't need to. And this is more affirmation that you don't need to. Quite frankly, there's no reason right now. There may be a reason down the road for scheduling our money, but there really isn't a reason right now. There's just not. So I don't know. It's just, there's not a reason to. Why do something? Tony says, why immediately look for negative? When news breaks, you look at all potential angles of how it affects Notre Dame. That's my job. That includes the high-end good stuff and the stuff to worry about. What do you mean? Why immediately look at all angles of new breaking news that affects Notre Dame? Because that's my job. That's an answer to that. That's what I'm here to do. It's not just the positive. You got to look at all of it. Oh, not me? Well, then, yeah. Why be negative, whoever you are? I take that back. Now I'm mad at you too, whoever he was talking to. That's where my brain's at. Separating how would Notre Dame handle a 4 or 5 week layoff heading into the playoff if they're in the top 4 versus the math that says even if you're struggling after a layoff, if you only have to win 3 games to win a championship, you have 1 less chance to lose than 4. You have it's 1 less game you can't lose. It's a lot easier to win whether you have a 2-month layoff or not. It's a lot easier to win 3 games than 4. I'm an idiot with math, and even I know that. I'm an idiot with math, and even I know that. And so that's kind of where I'm at. But let's be realistic about this. This isn't all, they didn't come to this decision probably to be all, fair and be this and that and whatever. They looked at the results from those automatic buy things and it backfired on them last year and all those teams lost and now they're rethinking it too. It isn't all with good intentions here. I think some of this is they looked at it and they're like, yeah, man, we thought this was going to be a big benefit for all those teams and it wasn't. And they ended up losing or whatever. So that's interesting. It's interesting. All I know is it's a lot easier to win 3 games in a row than 4. Notre Dame won 3 games in a row last year in the playoff, for instance. It's a lot easier to win 3 than 4. But that big layoff is something you'll have to contend with. And if you're in it, you'll have to figure out how to keep sharp or whatever. But if you need to get healthy, then it might help you. If you need to get healthy. Callers, I'm coming to you. So, I don't know. Frank Lee, you wouldn't cry about layoffs. You're absolutely right. Frank Lee, you wouldn't cry about layoffs. He would have them out there doing 3 practices a day, beating each other's heads in. That's what old Frankie boy would do. That's what old Frankie boy would do. So I don't know. It was, yeah, Dodger, the whole thing's changed of like where the benefits are. Now, let's get into this real quick. Then I'll go to the callers. There are going to be some downstream effects of this. Okay. There's going to be, not everything is all perfect. There's going to be some downstream effects of this. And so I'll give you one of them. And maybe you care about this and maybe you don't care about this. Think about it. If you had this model last year, if you had this model now on last year's playoff format, you would have ended up with the buys going to the winners and the losers of the Big Ten and the SEC championship games. Unless I'm wrong, I don't think I'm wrong. If you did this last year, you would have ended up with 2 SEC teams that played for the SEC championship right before it, and then 2 Big Ten teams that just played for the Big Ten championship right before it. So any amount you thought those conference championships were fairly worthless, how are they not more worthless now? It doesn't really matter whether you win or lose them. You could get a bye, and that's how it would have worked out last year because they're not penalizing teams for losing that conference championship game. So you would have ended up with those 4 teams, 2 from each of the big power 2, whether they win or lose. Whether they win or lose, those conference championships. I thought, Joshua, thank you. I thought I had that right in my mind, right? So that's what you ended up. So that doesn't affect me because I'm not a conference guy, so I don't really care. So if you are, then maybe that's something you care about or not. But I feel like it's kind of lessening the importance of those conference championship games even more because you're not going to penalize anybody for losing them. And last year, all those teams, even when you account for who wins and loses, they still would have been in the top 4. But if those are the top 4 teams, who's anybody to argue really, right? Like if that's what it is. So I don't know. Sean says this will impact the ranking. We'll see. We'll see. So I don't know, you guys. I would love to know what you think about all that. And here's the other part. Some people are concerned about that layoff, double bye situation of Notre Dame, not a conference championship, and then getting a bye and that big layoff. Taking that out, is this not a win for Pete Bavacqua? Like, I totally understand Pat Potter's concern about that double layoff for Notre Dame. But I got to ask, in that meeting room with all these conference people, and then Bavacqua was like, if we're redoing this, then we should be eligible. And he got that done. Again, forget the challenge of the layoff. It's basic math. It's easier to win 3 in a row than 4 in a row, and nobody's going to debate me that it ain't. You can't lose a game you're not playing. It's easier to win 3 than 4. So I think you got to give Bavacqua a win on this one for making it so if Notre Dame goes undefeated, they could slide in the top 4. And then we could debate will one loss ever get Notre Dame there or not or whatever. But I think it's got to be a win for Bavacqua negotiating that Notre Dame could get in there, right? So I don't know. So there's something to think about on that. And then here's the thing. When you talk about, John, it's easier to win 4 than 3 if 2 of the 4 gimmies. Eric, what I'm saying is you cannot lose a game you're not playing at all. You're talking about some risk versus 0 risk. And again, that's very situational, Eric. It depends on who you're playing. It depends on getting the right matchup or whatever. But I'm just saying, anytime you play any team, there's a chance you could lose. If you're not playing, you can't lose. It's a 0% getting knocked out of the playoff or some percent, right? You cannot win a game. You don't play either, John. Now my head's going to explode. I'm not smart enough for all this math. I'm not. And then here's the thing, man. Here's the thing. If you want to talk about who's a loser in all this, probably all the teams that are in Arizona State's conference are not going to like it. And all the teams in Boise State's conference are not going to like it. Right? And you know what my answer is? Who cares? You don't have any power. And your conference is not challenging enough to warrant a bye. Like, if you're looking at who's mad about this or whatever, probably all those teams and conferences, they have no power. And you can't look at their schedule and then justify them getting a bye. You can't. When you compare it to the Big Ten and the SEC slate, you can't. Do we really need to explain how a bye helps? Apparently I do, because I'm getting some pushback on it. I am a math dummy. But I'm just saying you cannot lose games you don't have to play. And I totally get, dude, Eric, you're not lying, dude. I'm seeing like the long division bar in my head, bro. You're not wrong at all. I'm seeing all the math numbers like the Zach Galifianakis, the GIF where all the numbers are going through his head. I ain't good with the math. I'm not. Oh, Johnny, I'm going to give you some pushback. Let's get my main man Martinez in and out, and he can get back to work. If you're on hold, you're going to be on the air. 717, you look like a new caller. You have no history. I want to get to a new caller. If you're on hold and you're a regular, you're going to be on the air. You're going to be on the air. My main man Martinez, what's up, baby?
Hey, Johnny, can you hear me? Am I clear? Or is it a little loud?
Sounds like you're in the bottom of that well with Lassie again.
There you go. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's a little better.
Okay. Hey, few quick things. Man, Johnny, we were just talking about this, man. Great move on Bavacqua, man. Great move on Bavacqua doing this. And, you know, we talked, and that's where we touched on that on Wednesday. This whole joining the conference, that talk is dead and done. Right, Bavacqua was there during the glory days. He was there during, Lou Holtz, and when Notre Dame was electrified. That spirit has been brought back with him, with Marcus Freeman, and with the kids we're bringing in. So glad that talk's all done and dead, man. It really is. And I know the caller after me talked about, it's in the powers that be. The chess pieces are being moved. The one thing I'm going to say, man, man has built the greatest university in all the land. God has blessed the greatest university in all the land, which is the University of Notre Dame. I mean, I don't know why as fans, we always reiterate right back to, the conference talk. I don't know why. And I'm so glad Pete did this, man, to just shut that down. It is shut down and did it. Kudos to him, man.
I think that's got to be a negotiative win for the Bavacqua side, man. You were able to. I'm just saying you can't lose games you don't have to play, and if it comes with a challenging layoff, you need to be physically and mentally and emotionally tough enough to handle the layoff and the buildup. Some years that may feel like it hurts Notre Dame, and you're rolling and you want to keep playing, and other years you may say, we could use a few weeks because we have 2 linemen with busted ankles that we want to heal up or whatever it may be. All I know is you can't lose games you don't play, and I think it's a win for Bavacqua.
Yeah, amen. I agree with you 100 on that. Second of all, you talk about losing games we don't play. Remember, we don't need another 45-day layoff where we play for the national title and get our behinds handed to us like back in 2012. We don't. Maybe a week, maybe 2, if that. But it's kind of like, hey, man, it's kind of like when you're fighting or like when you're running, like, hey, my ankle's starting, hey, man, keep going, because as soon as you stop, you're going to feel it. So you're kind of in that boat, and the boys, I think, who knows, if they would have had the week off, and people might give me some pushback, but me, doing such a physically demanding job from the way I've lived all my life and playing rugby, playing football, boxing, and now going to the hardest form of construction known to man. I know when my stuff's hurting, I'm like, hey, bro, you better just keep rolling and get through the week, because if not, you know, it's gonna hurt more. With that being said, I just think that we don't need too many days off. And Johnny, one last thing, I think we're not giving Arizona State and these other teams enough credit. And I know people can say because of the competition, but hey, man, remember NIU came in and punched us right in the mouth the way we haven't been punched in decades.
True. It's true. You know what? I was gonna bring that up because Eric at the College Huddle said, you know, isn't it easier if you don't have the bye, but you have some gimme games the first two? Bro, I've been around Notre Dame enough to know I'm not counting anything as a gimme game. And that goes for Marshall, that goes for Northern Illinois, and that goes for Stanford and that. I'm sorry, like you could say that, those games are gimmies. Haven't we learned nothing's a gimme in college football?
Exactly. And you know what, Johnny, it just made it look worse because it is Notre Dame and we're everybody's Super Bowl. But like I tell you, like I've said over and over, SEC for the last 20 years, 3 teams, LSU, Alabama, or Georgia. You know, and that's the thing. Why? I mean, people say, well, when they play like a Middle Tennessee or a Southern Utah or a Dixie State, you know, you're basically funding that college program for 2 years because they play them. We're going to pay you $5 million to beat your butts. And it's like, okay, I guess, but why not fly out to play in Notre Dame, or why not fly Miami to Oregon, or yeah, man, or one of these, or Michigan, you know, Baylor when they're up in their prime, you know, why not do that and draw that money? But you wanna pity pat it and justify it. Well, it helps those programs. Well, you know, you're really not helping college football with these pity pat games, you know, that you play 4 years ago. But Johnny, so that's why I said, let's not give Arizona State, man, that credit, because that team joined that conference, you know, that has Baylor, that has Oklahoma State, that has TCU, who played for a national title, you know, a few years ago. That Oklahoma State that beat us, Marcus's first game as a head coach. You know what I mean? And a Baylor that produced RG3. Let's not. And I know it's not in those glory days, but those college programs are still capable of producing those type of athletes. So I think we shouldn't overlook those type of conference championships.
Yeah, okay, but Renee, all right, let me push back on you though.
Go ahead.
I understand where you're coming from, but those two teams ended up ranked 11th and 9th. If they ended the season ranked like 3rd and 4th, that's a little different. But when they ended ranked 11th and 9th, and then they get automatically boosted to the top 4 in a bye, that's where I find a discrepancy. It's like, why were they ranked 11th and 9th then and then get this reward? If everybody respected what they did that much, they wouldn't be ranked 11th and 9th. They'd be ranked 3rd and 4th or whatever. So, like, you can't compare the toughness of those two conference schedules to the other two. That's what I'm saying.
No, and yeah, Johnny, hold on. Let me shut this forklift off. I gotta hide over here.
Beep, beep, beep.
Yeah, I gotta hide over here.
If anybody gives you trouble, just ram them with the forks, baby. Just gun it right through where they're at. They'll move out of the way.
Hey, let me tell you, no, Johnny, I agree with you 100%. They shouldn't be ranked that high, but they should not get in, and they also should be given the respect that they deserve to be there. You know, hey man, that Arizona State Texas game is questionable, man. Very questionable.
That's true. Yeah,
some of them calls at the end.
Fair. That's fair.
Let's not act like the powers that be didn't say, "Oh, I didn't see that."
That's fair. But okay. I love this. Okay, let me push back a little bit again. Just because they did good against Texas in that game doesn't mean that they earned their way into that game. Those are two different discussions of whether they deserve to be there and then how good they did. I just have a problem with the team ranked 11th getting a bye. I just don't think that makes a lot of sense in my messed up brains.
You know, and I guess, but, you know, I'm glad Notre Dame didn't get a bye. I really am. I think that the momentum of them not getting a bye and the chip on the shoulder, kind of like I tell you, hey, your hands, like as a fighter, your hand's broken. You got to keep fighting because once you stop this, once I take this glove off, it's going to swell up.
Yeah.
So you better get through this one. So I get the whole rest up thing. But when you're in that brawl, man, you got to keep going. No, but them being ranked that high, I guess, you might be right on that. But hey, dude, they took on this Texas team and gave them all they wanted, man. And the powers that be didn't make a few calls or whatever it be.
Yeah.
Johnny, and that's the truth. It's like we said, the Bush push, it happened, right? It happened, but the call wasn't made. It doesn't matter. It happened. They won. Reggie won the Heisman, and it happened. You can take whatever you want. It happened. Arizona State came into a conference that they hadn't won anything in the Pac-12 for 20, 30 years. They came in there and they won that conference. They deserve to be in the playoff. Now, a bye, like you say, I don't know. But they gave Texas the runner-up that couldn't beat Georgia twice. Mind you, twice. They gave them all they wanted. All they wanted.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's going to be interesting. And we're going to have to get some data now, and we're going to see. And then what are they going to do? 1 year this and then go to 16 and change everything again? Like, this is all so fluid. It's going to change again. And
it will, Johnny.
Yeah, it's going to change again, and it's going to be interesting. But in the short term, there's a change here, and we're going to see where Notre Dame falls in all this. It's going to be interesting. Anything else, man? Thanks for taking time out of a long work day, buddy.
No, Johnny, just one thing. Everybody have a blessed, safe, and happy Memorial Day weekend. Thank you to all the vets out there that helped and served and that we've lost. Johnny, I love you. Onward, Notre Dame, man. Okay, buddy?
Have a good weekend, man. Take care out there. That's a working man, people. This guy isn't talking to people in his basement about football. He's out there moving. He's out there working outside. He's sweating. That's a real man's work, baby. Forklift. Beep, 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 beep. It's very interesting. Andrew Gilmore, we're coming back to the call. 717 coming up. We got the perfect playoff draw last year. Indiana was a pretender. Georgia was down. No starting QB. Franklin's a choker and a joker, by the way. The draw is essential unless you have Jeremiah Smith. It's so true. And the further we get away from the playoff run Notre Dame had, the more you think about how much who you line up with in that chart is going to matter, right? And it's just a moving equation. And I don't think you're going to have a feeling whether you like this or not till you see where Notre Dame falls in it. And then you see who they match up with. And then I don't know whether that's accurate reflective data or that is a small data set and you're just going by 1 year, 2 years or whatever. But I feel like we're talking about a lot of different things here that are all getting blended into the same thing. Where it's like, well, you wouldn't have wanted to play that Arizona State team or look at what they did with, look at how they played Texas close or whatever. Those are different arguments than did they deserve to have the bye. Totally, that's an unrelated argument. Totally separate argument. Saying, look at how tough Arizona State played Texas, that whatever. But that's a different argument than why is the 11th and 19th, 9 teams getting byes? If they were that respected and thought of and everybody valued out how hard their conference was, they wouldn't be ranked 11th and 9th. They'd be ranked in the top 4. Here's the other part of this. I ain't no math genius. It confuses me when I see the rankings, but then the seedings are different than the rankings. And before you know it, you got to be an algebra expert to be able to figure out what your team is. You're ranked this, but it doesn't line up with your seed. What do you Who's that guy in the wheelchair with the joystick and the big brain? Stephen Hawking? I got to have some computer brain to be able to figure out what's my rank, what's my seed? I ain't got the brain width. Is brain width even a word? John did get a B in math. The only B I've ever gotten is math. Dr. John, hit him few and hit him straight, brother. Make them putts, baby. Make up all your shots on the short stuff. 100 yards and in, 80% of your shots. Everybody goes and bangs balls on the range, hitting it. Oh, I'm hitting it 250 yards or whatever. No. If you were smart, you would know 80% of your shots come from 100 yards in. You would have 3 different wedges in your hand, practice your chip and bump and run, little flopper T Daniels. You got to practice it all, baby. You got to practice it all. 100 yards in, everybody makes the mistake. You want to go bang your driver in the driving range and it's going everywhere, but you feel like you hit it good. No. 100 yards in. 3 wedges and a putter, man, and you'll knock shots off your score. 717, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Hey, John, you got me.
I got you. What's going on, brother? Thanks for calling. First time caller or what? I got no call history here.
Yeah, you got it, man. Long time listener, first time caller, and honestly, man, the state of Notre Dame football right now, I'm fired up about. So that's why I had to call in. It's weird to be in May when we're feeling good about this type of stuff, and we have a Heisman front runner in Jay Love. We have linebackers who go sideline to sideline, and we finally got arm talent in the QB room. So I'm pumped.
Yeah, I've been saying
always stuff to yell about.
You got the right number, brother. You called the right show. I've been saying this, and I don't know how often you're able to watch or listen, but I have been saying this. Right now is the most stability I've felt in the foundation of this program in the last 30 years by far. When I look at on the field, off the field, and administratively, this is the most stability with all the power players pulling from the same end of the rope to a common goal that I've ever seen. This program is in a great position right now, and you're transitioning from the beginning of the Freeman era, learning how to be a head coach, all of that. The 3 years have gone fast. You're transitioning out of that and what should be into what's the beginning of Freeman's prime. Everything's lining up. Now it's on Notre Dame to get this thing over the hump.
100% agree. And I think it's good to see the support that Freeman has. And I think that's why they've kind of changed course, because you don't want to support a guy like Kelly. And honestly, like full transparency, I'm only 25. So like I've only seen a little bit of like the Notre Dame success, but it's trending in the right direction, man. I was there, boots on the ground in College Station last year, and there's a difference. You can feel it. Like when they came out to power, place was rocking, but I had the utmost confidence that we were going to go in there and get the job done. Like it is a different feeling as a Notre Dame fan right now.
Yeah. Yep. You are right. And there is just there's a different vibe, and it does start with Marcus. And I remember, I always bring this up. It really stood out to me. The first blue and gold game when Freeman was in charge. So this would be before the first season, but that spring leading into it. Kelly was gone. It was Freeman's team. That first blue and gold game totally felt different on campus. Everything felt different. It was more relaxed. There was a more open feeling. There was a more welcoming vibe. Everything, like, it kind of felt more comfortable. There was a lot to like just about the vibe changing. Freeman really wanted to invite former players back and have them back in the fold more than Kelly didn't have the time for, but he wanted them involved. And that started it. And it wasn't always easy. And Freeman had some tough learning moments, but I think we're in a really good spot.
Oh yeah. And so to kind of change course here too, with all of the change going on, right? College football playoff, conference alignment, all this stuff. The one change that I would like to see, and I think everyone else should hopefully agree, is can we get the championship game on Saturday night? Why does it have to be on a Monday? I think that's why ratings are down too. It's like,
bro,
why not put it on Saturday night? I get the NFL has their thing, but come on, it's college football. It should be Saturday night.
Yep, I totally agree. I don't understand why they do that. I argue the same thing with the Super Bowl in the NFL, that you're putting it on a Sunday night so nobody could really party or stretch their legs a little bit. Everybody's got work in the morning or whatever. Like, I just don't understand. Can't you find a way to put it on a Saturday night people could really let loose, or what?
Yeah, exactly. And as far as the new change, I mean, it's more of a reason for us to stay independent, and I'm pumped on that. I think the other thing too is it's pretty telling that Greg Sankey is in those meetings, and he would have had an issue with the SEC and Notre Dame, and he doesn't want an SEC team to have to go to Notre Dame in December and play in South Bend. Like, he is much more willing to let Notre Dame get the bye and let's say hypothetically go play in New Orleans and play them in SEC. Oh, wait, that already happened and we still whooped them. But I think it's telling that, the SEC commissioner is on board basically saying, hey, let Notre Dame get a bye. We don't want to have to possibly go up to South Bend and play in December.
Yeah, and again, this is all quite exploratory. They did the first format and then they adjusted. Now we're going to have a different one and we're going to see how everything shakes out and where Notre Dame falls in it. And then they're going to readjust again when they go to 16, and it's going to happen. It's too much money not to do it. So they're going to go to 16 eventually, and then they're going to redo this format again. But I just think there's no way around it. It's a win for Bavacqua to be able to get that buy and negotiate that. But long layoff or not, I think that's a negotiative win on the Notre Dame side.
It is. And one last thing, and I'll get out of here. But I think as far as like the gap that everyone's talking about too, I mean, last year it certainly would have helped us get healthier, especially with Jay Love's injury. I think that was one of those things where he looked himself, and obviously the Penn State game was incredible, but it would have helped us health-wise. And I think too, that's the thing that I have a bone to pick with right now too, right? Everything's great, but I would say from a national media standpoint, which they always disrespect Notre Dame, I get it, but I live in Pennsylvania. Why is Penn State getting all of this preseason hype? I get Drew Aller's back. I get most of their defenses back. They got Jim Knowles. People look at Notre Dame and they're like, they lost so much talent because of the transfer portal exits on, from a Coogan standpoint. We're only getting better and healthier. Like we need CJ Carr to be a version of Mac Jones, where all he has to do is be a distributor. We have the horses. We have the talent. Why is Penn State getting put up on a national pedestal when Notre Dame is getting disrespected?
Listen,
I don't. It doesn't make sense to me.
It's funny you say that. I have some YouTube shorts that I made like a couple weeks ago, yelling about this. When I see the listing and a bunch of national people had Penn State number one. I don't understand how you could have faith in them to be the number one team in the land when Franklin's record against top 10 teams is way worse than Kelly's, and Kelly has one of the worst ones in America. Kelly's like 6-20, and this guy's like 3-20. Kelly's like 6-20, and you hate it. This dude's 3-20, and I got national writers that believe they're going to win the championship number one. I'll believe it only when I see it, and I'm never going to see it.
Yes, sir. Talk to them. Exactly. It makes no sense. And beating Penn State, it was one of the best games that I've ever got to watch. That my entire childhood was on the line, and we came through. I think Shane said it. God didn't forget what they did. I'll leave it right here. Irish by $1 billion. Thanks, Johnny.
Hey, I really appreciate it, man. Really good first call. Crystal clear phone line and really well thought out and spoken points. Call again. Program the number as your emergency contact. Call me again.
You got it, my man. I appreciate you.
Have a good one. Hey, that's a good first-time caller, man. No phone issues. Clearly stated presentation. I really like that. Callers, I'm coming back to you. You know that. You know I'm coming to you. End time watchman. Here's something John agrees with. The DJ at home games needs to go. I don't need a hype up every 5 seconds, bro. Bro. I have no problem with the hype up, but it's the girl screaming at me. I understand the concept that you want to entertain the crowd during a elaborate 6-minute NBC timeout. Having that girl scream at the crowd is not the right answer. It's not. She literally just yells and it echoes through the stadium and her voice pierces my brain. If you're gonna do that, how do you land on that girl with that voice yelling at 87,000 people? I don't understand it. Like, the concept of doing it is one thing. How you do it and who you let do it is a totally different thing. A totally different thing. She just yells. I can't handle it, man. Everybody get up and cheer. It's like, bro, I can't handle it. The DJ, I would rather the DJ. One of them games, they were mixing and matching and playing whatever. If you're going to be at least playing music is playing music. But that girl yelling at the crowd, it's like, if I could think of one way to make the crowd less engaged, I know what I'd do. Have a girl yelling at me on the microphone. And I'm a guy who yells on a microphone for a living. I understand this stuff. Yeah, give me DJ Jazzy Jeff. Summertime. Give me some of that. But this girl screaming at you I just can't. Get up on your feet. What? No, shut up. Cut the mic. Cut the mic. Do not do it again. And if you notice, in that playoff game, they didn't do it. In that playoff game, you didn't do it. You know what you did to pass the time? How about you bring out the bus? How about you talk about Timmy Brown or something? Timmy Brown. That's my Tony Roberts. God rest his soul. Touchdown, Timmy Brown. This girl yelling at me, man. Why is she yelling at me? And don't get me started on OBJ car. You should not be encouraging what that is. I'm not going to go there. I'm going to get in trouble. You should not encourage that. Whatever that was, you shouldn't encourage it. It rubs me the wrong way. There's a guy clearly not in good shape at all, and everybody's cheering for it. I'm against that. I'm against it. I'm against it. I'd rather see a guy with a ripped six-pack and all the muscles with his shirt off than a guy that looks like he's on a Girls Gone Wild video with everything bouncing around. Why don't they highlight some ripped dude with his shirt off doing this? Not the hero we needed. So I'm against that too. But that girl's got to go. That girl's got to go. Sorry, okay? She got to go yelling at me. Rubbed me the wrong way. It just did. It just did. West Palm Pat, $10 holler. Colors, I'm coming to you. Change of playoff format had nothing to do with Notre Dame. The SEC arrogantly thinks they will have 2, maybe 3 teams ranked in the top 4 each year. Therefore, they wanted to change. Perhaps. Yeah, you could argue that. They use a 7-iron to chip. There's nothing wrong with that. I know a lot of people that do that. You play it back in your stance, close the face, bump and run with it. A lot of people do that. I usually use a closed down pitching wedge around the green for bump and runs, way back in my stance, face closed. That's what I usually do. So, yeah, a lot of people like doing that. It's whatever you're comfortable with. I know a lot of people that chip with hybrids. It's whatever you are comfortable with. Whatever you are comfortable with. John's bulking up to get that 6-pack and dethrone Obi. I'm just telling you, I'd much rather look at a guy ripped with muscles with his shirt off going nuts than whatever that was. Rubbed me the wrong way. Didn't like it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see that. John, what's your handicap? My brain. My brain is my handicap. There's never been a golf shot I couldn't hit. Physically, my brain is the handicap. When I was playing 3 times a week, I got it down to 4.5, 5. But that's been many years. When I quit the job to do this full time, the golf clubs have been collecting dust. I had an obligation to get this going and profitable every month, year round. The golf, I had to give up. It was too much time I put into it to try and be good, and I needed to put all that time into this. So I don't even consider myself a golfer right now. But when I was playing 3-4 times a week, I would get down, 4.5, 5, and then, have better days and worse days. Right now, it's a foreign object to me if I picked up a golf club. That's just the way it is. How old is this shirt? High school. Great question. Always Irish Golf Vlog would smack. Trust me, I've thought about how to do it. How do you do that to where people can see where you're hitting it and hear what you're saying? And I've thought about it. It'd be very entertaining. And then I have a more aggressive idea. That might get me arrested or beat up, but I really want to do it. But I'm going to need some help. I don't think it's illegal, but it could literally get me beat up or arrested depending on where I do it. But I have a really good idea that nobody else would do. But it could get me in real trouble. This shirt came from high school. I think a high school girlfriend got it for me for Christmas or something. I've had it ever since, and I just like it. And it's fraying, and I like the vintage look. Great question. Where did I get the rocket poster? eBay.com. eBay.com. But really, you could ask Pat this. The only handicap I ever had in golf is my head. There is not a shot I could not hit. I could shape it left to right to left, high to low, whatever. I have all the shots in the bag. My number one problem in golf is my own head. There's no sport like it where it's all on you. The ball's not moving. It's all on you. It's a game more about your mind than physical, but I could hit any golf shot. Will my mind allow me to? I was my biggest enemy playing competitive golf. Mark with glasses. What's going on?
Not a whole lot. The new caller was great. Is this just like when the rich get richer? Is this the independent getting independent year?
I don't know. And then once you adjust to this or we see what's going to happen, they're going to change it anyway. So I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, and I wonder, like, if the Big Ten and SEC respect us more than we've all kind of thought all along because of this.
Yeah, I don't know, man. Mark, sometimes it's so much like there's so many things going through my mind. I don't know how to calculate them. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, and then whatever angles I came into this show with, now people have added a bunch and I don't know the answers. I don't know how to calculate all of this. If it's totally good for Notre Dame or bad, or we need evidence to know. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, the first thing I thought of was James Franklin has got to be losing his shit because he's been talking and talked all that in the playoffs in Freeman's face about Notre Dame needs to join a conference and everyone should play the same amount of conference games. So I imagine he's going to have a lot to say at Big Ten media days.
I don't know, man. It's just a weird dynamic because you look around the country and it's just hard not to look at the Big Two conferences very different than everybody else. And that's just always going to be an undercurrent now. That power is what it is. And I don't think it's debatable, but I just look at those big power two way different than everybody else.
Yeah, and I just wonder, like, with the playoff committee, like, if they're just going to vote, like, accordingly, despite the changes, or, you know, I have to feel like they're still going to give the conference the benefit of the doubt, but, you know, basically after the Arizona State, Boise State thing, you know, they knew they needed to make a change, and, you know, that didn't help that all 4 bye-week teams lost. So, you know, they were going to be in a hurry to address that, and it didn't take them long to do that. But I was reading that Yahoo Sports is already reporting that the Big Ten and SEC are talking about playing a postseason game before the playoffs. Have you read about that yet?
I have not. So what's the theory there? What's the theory? Is it a play-in game or just a practice? Still, like, what are we doing? Why?
It's basically going to be a play-in game, but it's the 3rd and 4th place teams and the 5th and 6th place teams of both conferences are proposing play each other basically for the final 2 auto bids. So I don't know. I'm guessing that is taking place during the conference championship week.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, they just reported that yesterday that those 2 conferences are talking. So it's basically like, you know, basically like a play-in game. They're trying to decide who's deserving of those auto bids.
Man, it's I don't know. I this is just a lot to keep up with. I don't know. Just it's like, hey, Notre Dame, go win all your games and just see where they put you and then go play. You're gonna have positives and negatives. And still, you know what it comes down to, Mark? wherever you fall in this bracket, I think Andrew Gilmore's right. A lot of it just has to do with what teams you're going to line up with in that bracket. And if you get a lighter run by luck, that helps you. And if you get a tough one, it could be a tough road. Like, I think that's just, it's going to come down to a lot of that. And then people are going to feel a certain way about the format, whether they like or don't like who you line up against. That's what I think the reality is.
Yeah, and this is for the 16 team playoff, obviously, but and then there'll be 3 at-larges, and then, Notre Dame's guaranteed in if they're top 16, and I'm like, well, hell, if we're worse off than 16, I don't even want to participate,
Well, yeah, and the other part of this, Mark, is it all depends on what part of your brain you want to use to think about this. The other part, like, I get a visceral negative reaction for Notre Dame fans going, wait a second, we're going to give 4 automatic bids to the Big Ten and the SEC. What if the team is 7-5 or 8-4 and we're going to value that at a title contending level? Like, what if that happens? But the other way to look at it is, if you're giving out all those automatic bids, what other good teams are going to be left for at large other than Notre Dame? Like, if you're giving away that many automatically, how many teams outside of that are going to have an argument better than Notre Dame's to make it? So you can look at it that way too.
Yeah, like you said, I don't understand how the conference championship games don't hurt you. How are they going to do that when they're picking the top 4 teams?
Yeah, but I mean, that's exactly how it worked out last year, though. They did not penalize those losers, and it would be those 4 teams that were in the championship games of the Big Ten and the SEC. So if there really is no penalty, hey, God bless you, Eric. I'm glad to hear about your niece, man. And if our grotto candles help, then I feel even better about it, man. Really glad to hear that she's with us and thriving and is happy. So God bless you, Eric. You're a good dude. Sorry, Mark.
Yeah, and then like with this year's playoff, how it shaped out, we had a 3-week layoff. Had we had a bye week, it would have been a 4-week layoff. I think it's nonsense to worry about that.
Listen, I think again, it's situational, Mark. If you're beat up and you need a couple weeks to get your best players healthy, everybody's going to go, this is awesome. Now you have this layoff to get Jeremiah Love's ankle back 100% or whatever. And if you're rolling and you're beating the hell out of everybody, you may want to keep it going and you're healthy. So again, very situational. But I don't think I'm a dummy with math, but I think having to win 3 games is a lot easier than winning 4, no matter who they're against. I don't know, man. It's just there's 0% of losing in a game you don't play. There's some percentage in losing any game you play, no matter who it's against. Just ask the Huskies. Ow!
Yeah, it's the rest versus Russ whole argument, but it's 100 days until we beat Miami's ass and we kick off an undefeated season, 12-0, and Notre Dame getting a bye week on top of that is going to be hilarious. But we're just going to be sitting there in the quarterfinal waiting to see how things shape out. It's going to have everybody up in arms. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah, it's man, let's end this with the most important part of all. Let's just make sure Notre Dame plays well enough. They're involved in all these discussions every year, no matter what the format is. Make sure you're involved. So I don't know, man, but I think it's a negotiative win for Bavakva. I think you got to give him a little credit on this one. Even if what WPP said was true, that this wasn't like, let's throw Notre Dame a bone, but more like we think we could dominate 3 of those 4 spots. I think that Notre Dame's ability to not have to play 4 to win a championship, you got to credit Bavakva for, to some extent.
Yep, I agree totally. That's all I got.
Mark, thank you very much for the help on Californication. Got some good run, and people like the creativity. Our minds combining is a dangerous place, brother.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. All right, I'll see you later.
Yeah,
bye.
I'm gonna go on tour with the Chili Peppers next, and we're gonna create a cover band, and I'm gonna do the Anthony Kiedis role minus the hard drugs. Pat, callers, I'm coming to you. Another one. He was even through 11. Snap hooked his tee shot out of bounds on 12. Got a bogey on 12 and finished out par +1. I mean, I got to be honest. I feel really, really guilty about all of my golf friends. Pat's number one, but there's a bunch of them that I've let down. Not available to be a ringer and play in events, or didn't feel comfortable because I'm not in golf shape. And then I get asked to play an event and I don't have the confidence because I know that I'm just not, I don't have my game. And then I feel bad and I'd rather not play at all until I get back to it. It's been hard, but something I had to sacrifice to get this thing profitable, and I had to give something up. So, but my game is, I don't have a game. So there's a lot of friends that I just don't hang out with as much because I'm not in that world right now. And it hurts and it's frustrating and it sucks. And I don't like it, but I'm not, it's either you're all in or you're all out. I can't do this. Once a month, I'll play golf and not be sharp and be mad about it. That doesn't work for me. I either need to be all in or all out. And that's hard for me. And I've let a lot of friends down. And it sucks and it hurts. But that's a decision I felt I had to make at the time. And now it's about, when do I get back into it? How serious do I get back into it? And how do we record it and use it for content, quite frankly? 415, what's up, man? How'd your surgery go?
Oh, buddy, I'm on the ropes right now, but it went well. It went well, but I'm just nursing it along, not hanging 10, I'll tell you that.
Yeah, I could tell you sound like you kind of been through the ringer, man. You don't have that perk in your voice.
Give me a couple minutes. I'll try to find it for you.
There you go.
How's everything going over there?
It's going good. I did think of you. I did think of you. It's like right when you went under, they changed the playoff format and you woke up and it's a different world, buddy. like
all right.
Yeah, a brother can't have a surgery. You wake up and the whole landscape changed. So you woke up to some news. What do you make of it? You're in a different galaxy now.
It's totally, it's awesome. I'll say this. I think I'll take it as a good. All right. I'll take the good first. And the good is that when you break it down, I heard that the ACC commissioner, Jim Phillips, said that the decision was done. Basically, he was talking about it was done in the best interest of the sport of like college football in general. And that's what you and I were chatting about last week. And that even though it might not be something that benefits like their specific conference each time or each season, that it was the right decision and that it was something of a responsibility that they, as the other commissioners, all took very seriously. So when you're making a decision to go ahead and say, forget about the conference champions all being the first round buys. Now you're talking about, the top 1 through 4, it changes the landscape. It also shows that out of the 11 people in there, those 10 other commissioners are looking at Notre Dame's athletic director and saying, okay, you got a voice in here, and we know that you guys hold a lot of weight, and we do. And that was a point that was also made last week. And I think this is just evidence of it. I feel that if you were to look at it, I agree with Pat that there is something to be said about if you get like what's pretty much a double buy, right? And you're sitting there for that long amount of time, that you can build up some rust. You can get like that kind of edge is off, something like Martinez was talking about. You take the gloves off and now they start swelling. How do you get the gloves back on? All those metaphors, all that stuff is true. It's all true, but that's going to be on the coaching staff and that entire, office to keep them up.
That's how I see it. It's two different discussions of if this is good or bad or whatever. It's two different discussions. Like nobody could dispute the math. You can't lose a game. You're not playing, right? Fine. But it's going to be incumbent on the staff to totally mentally and physically prepare the team off a big layoff for that moment and hope you don't have a hangover. Like it's just going to be built into a part of what the job is that you got to do. I just think having to win 3 is easier than winning 4. I don't know any other way to crunch the math.
Well, let me give you this other little angle, right? Because as amazing as it was, and I'm sure for you who was there, to have Indiana come into South Bend, and it was the very first playoff game. And it was just all the hype and all the different, nuances of this new system. And as amazing as it was to win that game, we still lost Riley Mills. And now fast forward to this season, if we were in that, or last season, if we were to be in that same format that we're in now, then we wouldn't have played that game. And then maybe Riley Mills isn't hurt because he doesn't, flip his leg around and get blasted out. So now he's there for the next game. So if you start thinking about it, it is, like as I said before, it's a war of attrition. And this is going to be one of those times where you look at, we're adding more games. We're adding more possibility of injuries. We're talking about younger players with a lot more wear and tear now, and more probability of being hurt. So if you get a first round bye, yes, you have to deal with the rust and all those other, types of issues. However, you don't have to deal with the injuries as far as on the field in a game like that.
Yeah, you're right. I think all of this, now that we're down an hour into this debate kind of discussion, I'm just thinking that this could be a year by year thing of whether we like it or not, depending on a million different factors of who you might play, how long the layoff is, what your bracket looks like, if you're healthy, do you have a home game or a road game? I just think it could end up being very situational how we end up feeling about it. And again, you don't have any data yet. So you got to see how it works out and what we think. I don't know.
Yeah. And who knows? It totally has to do with the cards that you're dealt. I mean, you could get a first round bye and then have a gauntlet like what Oregon had. And you're like, oh, going to the Rose Bowl, playing against Ohio State, who's the hottest team at the time. You don't know what is going to be dealt your way. So you just have to play the game. And the deal is like, whether the SEC, Big Ten, whoever it is, they're all they're like sitting there betting on themselves. And they should be. They should be betting on themselves. Oh, we could lock up 2 or 3 of those spots in the top 4 as long as we get like Bama, Georgia, Texas, like whoever it is. Like, okay, fine. Bet on yourselves. But at least they're sitting there saying, Notre Dame, you have a chance. And to me, that shows that they're willing to play the game a little bit more and understand that we hold weight in this situation, especially next year afterwards when it's going to bump up to 16. And then now they tweak it a little bit more. And that's what this is all about. It's going to be between now and 2031 with all the different TV contracts and everything that's going to be changing and movement within the conferences. You're going to be seeing a lot more kind of just decision making about tweaking little things here or there to get it ready for that. And then if there is some big conference realignment or whatever it is, then so be it. But what we're seeing right now is that Notre Dame is setting themselves up for success. We're getting in there. We are orchestrating what we feel like is best for us. We're very vocal, I believe, about what's happening with the USC situation. So just let the cards play out. And again, at the end of the day, it all comes down to what you do on the field. Just go out there and win, man. That's all you got to do. Stop worrying about everybody else. The SEC and Big Ten should stop worrying about us being independent and just go play your game. And then that's what will show who the real champion is at the end of the year.
Yeah, it's I don't know, man. Just be a part of it so that we can have data that involves Notre Dame on all these things. Be a part of it. And if you're good enough and you deserve it, you're going to win. Right? Like, it's that simple. If you're good enough and you deserve it and you play well enough, you're going to win. There's a lot of moving factors here, and we're just going to have to see how it goes. So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how it works out. And what will really become interesting is if you do legitimately have like a bunch of SEC and Big Ten teams, can anybody even get into that top 4? Or are they going to weight them so much you do end up with 3 SEC teams one year and one other one? Will they do that, or will they feel an obligation to spread it out a little bit? We'll see.
Yeah, and that will be interesting because, again, not every single year is just going to play out where everybody's going to be happy. Yeah. In the NCAA basketball March Madness, there's always the 67th team or whatever it is that's so irate that they didn't make it into the tournament. It doesn't matter how many teams you put in. It's just about somebody's always going to be bent out of shape about how it worked or didn't work for them. And it just, again, at the end of the day, it's just shut your mouth, get in there and fight for it. Put it out on the field. And if you do that correctly, then you should be slotted correctly.
Yeah.
But I just feel like everybody needs to realize one thing. It's not always going to work out exactly the way you want it to.
Yeah.
It's not always just going to pan out to the point where it's absolutely in favor of Notre Dame, or absolutely in favor of the way the SEC or Big Ten or whoever the hell it is wants it to be.
Yeah.
It's not going to be. So you just have to play the game, and some years it's going to float your way, and some years it's not.
Yep. You're absolutely right, my friend. Hey, I appreciate you calling. I could tell you're not 100%. I appreciate the dedication.
Dude, John, I was on the gurney going into the surgery room, and I was like, "Can I just make a phone call?" And they're literally trying to put me under it, and I wanted to call you and say, "Hey, just go Irish," right before I go out. They wouldn't let me. And I was like,
"You're like, hey, if something goes wrong here, and I never come back, the last thing I want to do is be on this show saying go Irish, and that's it, and then we fade to black."
I had a picture of my family with me, and I wanted to call you guys.
Oh, that's good. You had a picture of your family and then a picture of me right by your bed, just in case something goes wrong. Just all your loved ones. You got to make sure,
Yeah. 100%, Johnny boy.
I love your dedication on your deathbed. And Martinez is driving forklifts all over the desert somewhere, and he's risking life, limb, and his income to call. You guys are the best. Guys are the best.
Yeah. Well, you make the show the way it is, my man. So we appreciate it 100%, brother.
Hey, take the weekend and feel better, man. I'm glad you're alive, and call me when you feel better. Enjoy the long weekend, man. Get healthy.
All right, talk to you later, bro.
Have a good one. Oh, what a good guy. I appreciate that, man. The bro's going into surgery, and he's thinking about calling this show. I love the dedication. Joey, what was the Six Flags song they played repeatedly at times? I don't know what you call it other than really annoying techno. I don't know the name of it. I don't want to know the name of it. It is one of the worst songs I've ever heard or seen. I remember muting the TV every time they did this stupid Six Flags commercial. Whoever at Notre Dame is in charge of that and thinks that, you know what is going to pump up 87,000 and a half people? I know what we're going to do. We're going to play polka techno in front of 88,000 people, and that's going to get them engaged. That's what we're going to do. Some big brain Notre Dame type that makes $200,000 a year doing all this stuff in Notre Dame literally looked at all the songs in the world and thought that would be the one to pump up the Notre Dame crowd. Think again. Who in the world could hear that and think this is a good idea to play to pump up 87,000? Are you an idiot? You're fired. Whoever made that decision, you're fired. You're fired. Ron, you are really, truly pushing it this week. I don't know what medication you're off. I don't know what medication you're on. I don't know what your problem is, but I don't understand why. What is your problem? Calm down, John. Your angry shtick is getting old. Go away. Go away. Go away. That's the funny part about this. Sometimes people will come in here and be like, why are you like this? I hate this. What are you doing? This show is terrible. Leave. Who is somebody holding you hostage in the storage unit at the local McDonald's, making you watch my show? They're doing the thing where they hold your eyeballs open and you got to watch my show. Anybody can leave at any time if you don't like my deal. No one's making you watch. But if you're going to tell me not to yell about stupid things, it ain't ever going to happen. It ain't ever going to happen. I'm always going to yell about stupid things. Swan Dong, $2 holler. What are your thoughts on Cajun food? Probably not. Probably not. Isn't that where it's like, hey, come on down here for the crawdad boil, and you go under a rock and you grab a bunch of what I call bait for bass fishing. You grab them crawdads, and then you put that seasoning on them and you whip it around, all that, and then they're moving until they're dead, and then you eat them. No. What's the one thing where you got to strip the line of poop off them and then you cook them, bro? I ain't into no. Do I look like I live in a swamp? Do I look like I live in a swamp? I can't do it. This is really funny from the slip. Ben Franklin won more games than James. Callers, I'm coming to you. John is good at most caddying tasks, but he isn't good at keeping out bad thoughts. Example, he hands me my driver and says, don't go out of bounds like last time. Perhaps I need to change the approach. And rather than saying that, just say, you know what, Pat, I know the trouble's on the left, go, you know what? Anything on the right side of the fairway or even in that rough is going to be just fine. Maybe I could change my approach. Look at this. John, you really think you're the big ND fan, don't you? I think you might have a mental problem. You made a show about a sport where guys dress in tights and roll around on grass. Seems strange to me. Let's be very, very clear. Let's be very, very clear. Every single thing about what I do for a living is strange. I'm not normal. This is not normal. I don't live a normal life. I don't think I'm a normal person. My maturity has not advanced since I was 15. Like, I'm sure I have mental issues to do this, but I love it. It's what I want to do, man. And think about it. I've been able to do this and turn it into a job where I don't have a boss I really have to listen to. Other Sports Illustrated, they just kind of say, write what you want and yell at me if it crosses a line. But like, who's got the bigger problem? The one who likes this and wants to do it and made it a business, or the one who watches every day with a wig while he's flipping fries, being mean to everybody? Who's got the bigger problem, me or you? But you're definitely right. It is strange. There's no doubt about that. It's very strange. 402, what's going on?
Hey, John, this is Rocky. Long time no see. How you doing, old friend?
I'm doing good. Yeah, it looks like the last call was February, so a lot's changed. What's going on? Thanks for waiting.
Oh, I don't do off season. It's like a extended soap opera. I always wait a month before the season before I start paying attention.
Yeah. So what do you make of these playoff changes, man? Do you think it helps Notre Dame, hurts Notre Dame, a win for Bavacqua at the negotiating table, or the SEC just thinks they're going to have all 4 spots? Like, what do you make of it?
Well, it definitely helps Notre Dame. That gives you more of room to lose games, because, like, let's say, for an example, we had the 12-team playoff. If you guys lose 2 games, it's going to be a sticky grounds for you guys to be accepted into the playoff, because they're going to hold that. They're going to hold that over your guys' head. Oh, you don't play in the conference. Well, you got to beat an SEC team outright, champs outright, but you're always going to have haters. You're always going to have haters. No matter what Notre Dame does, there's always going to be some jackasses like the clown man in the chat room thinks that Notre Dame is a joke of a program. And I want to be rooting for Notre Dame this year. I hope you guys piss off the whole country, to be honest with you.
Yeah, man. It's listen, when you're the outlier and you choose to live differently than everyone else is doing, you have a target on your back, and it's welcomed. And it's probably, it's justifiable. If I was a fan of another team, I would rip on Notre Dame too. And I would find all the evidence and the angles that prove that angle and push them and ignore the other evidence. Like, I totally understand it. And a part of it, I love. You're either with us or against us. Notre Dame is a lightning rod. Very few people are like in the middle on Notre Dame. You either kind of love them or hate them for the most part, with very few exceptions. And I like that kind of life.
Yeah, and honestly, that's something, and the reason why you like it so much is because before Marcus came into the picture, everybody was hating on Notre Dame because you guys had a hard time being consistent on winning, to be a powerhouse. Now you guys are building that now, and now the tides has changed. Of the reason why people are talking down on Notre Dame, they ain't talking down because you guys suck. They're talking down on you guys because it's cognitive dissonance. They don't want to see the new information of what Marcus Freeman has done, and it's just, no matter what, there's always going to be people out there, and like, for an example, you got. Like watching you in this show, like when the playoffs are happening, that was actually fun to get to see you and the fan base excited. That was a fun experience, but there's people out there that don't care about it.
Man, I gotta tell you, man, I am so proud of this community, with a few exceptions, and we can imagine who they might be. This community is really healthy, and I love it, and we're all in it together, and you don't have to explain your insanity to anybody else. Everybody here gets it, and they're bought in, and it's just been great, man. I love it.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and say his last few words, and I'll send off. I won't take 10 minutes. I've been trying to work on that, so I'm not violating the, you know what I'm saying. But, the first month is going to be your hardest road. God, that's a meat grinder. But I'm rooting for you guys this year. I hope you guys make it back to the playoffs. I hope you guys do good. I don't care you guys join the conference because it's pissing off people, and I love it, I wish you guys the very best, and I hope to talk to you soon. And, good luck, Notre Dame. Go Notre Dame and take it easy.
Man, I really appreciate that. Thanks for the kind words. And I really appreciate it, man. Thanks a lot. And thanks for holding. I appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good weekend.
God bless, John.
Have a good one. Thank you. Man, I'm telling you, I got nice callers. Almost too nice, man. Have you guys ever thought about this? Callers, I'm coming to you. 859 and 949. You ever thought about all these tailgates I do? And if any of you guys have been to them, you know how it goes. You have the crowd where everybody kind of knows each other by now. The regulars that go to a lot of events, you know their name and face by now. But most of it is people that just kind of walk by and they see that I'm doing a tailgate, or they see it online, look for the flag, and they just walk by and they stop for a minute and have a beer, something to eat. And they just want to say, hey, John, you crack me up on your show when you yell. My wife hates you when you're on the TV. That whole thing that I do a lot. Sometimes I wonder, what if Ronald McDonald, the character, has met me at one of these tailgates, but he's he's all buttoned down and looks like a typical Notre Dame fan, and he's got like his put together wife and kids with him, and he's real respectful and nice, and he's one of those guys who just comes up to me and goes, John, I really, really like the show. Like, it's really engaging or whatever. But I've thought about it. The trolliest of trolls, what they're like in real life. And I just always wonder if one of them's come up to me and I just have no idea that it's one of those people that give me crap 24/7. And I just don't even know it. I don't know, man. I don't know. 949 on the line. What's going on?
Well, happy day 100. Let me kick this off so it's better. Happy day 100 until kickoff. And you may not live in a swamp, but Brian Kelly does.
That's for sure. That's for certain. He definitely does. There's a lot of pressure on him, man. Year 4, they're starting to get a little iffy. And again, early in the season it's a big deal for Notre Dame. It's a big deal for LSU. Your first game is at Clemson. And then I think week 3 or 4, they have Florida. Really interesting start to this season for him.
Indeed, but who cares? He lives in a swamp.
It's true.
I'm just excited about the Irish. Wanted to call in because it is day 100 until kickoff.
Nice round number. Nice round number.
That's right. And soon there'll be double digits after we wake up. But that's all I got. It's happy holidays to everybody, or happy holiday weekend to everyone that is listening. God bless everybody. God bless you, and go Irish.
Oh, go Irish. Thank you for that little pickup through the day. And you know what I forget sometimes, guys? Sometimes people find it easier to call in, and they don't even really want to call. but they're able to listen through to the show via the being on hold and listening to me talk to everybody. And then sometimes I go to them and they're like, I don't even worry about that. I was just listening. I didn't even really want to talk to you. Frog legs are good. I don't know, man. What do I look like? What is it? Uncle Si from, remember that show, the Duck Dynasty, like 15 years ago? Is that show still, is Si still alive? Remember that? Where they were like them hunters and they had the duck calls and everything. And whatever. They were grabbing frogs and frying them up. I don't think I've ever had that. What does it taste like? Chicken? It just kind of, yeah, Uncle Si was my favorite. I think I was him for Halloween or something with that big thing of tea in the cup. I don't think that was when we were still in college. I thought I was out of college for that. Maybe I'm wrong. But I just can't. You're different. I wonder what John and others think of me when I troll. You're different because you're loyal and I've gotten to know you kind of offline a little bit. You're different. You're not a random. You're in the circle. So yeah, in a weird way, I understand like when Kent pushes things or whatever, but like I know it's coming from a good place. That's a little different when I have that history with you than when you just jump in here and start being a jerk. Like, I don't know, man. And like Ronald, Kent is cool, but he seems strange. You're the one calling everybody strange, but you're a grown man who wears a red wig and everybody else is strange. Have you been drinking the fry oil? I swear, I guarantee Ronald McDonald is probably $1 billion Notre Dame donor. He's a lawyer. He's all put together, and this is just his alter ego to be able to get out all of like the vicious things he can't say in his regular life. John, who is your second best college football team? I don't know. You mean the team I would root for next after Notre Dame? No. Absurd question. No. 859, you're on the line. What's going on? No is not an answer. Wait a second. He called again. Maybe he's on second hold. 859, are you on this line?
Yeah, Johnny.
Ooh, I like it. Hey, man, it looked like you were on there twice. I answered the wrong one. What's going on?
Hey, man, that's a double the trouble for you today. Long time listener, man. I just first time caller, dude. I've got the kind of a day to work from home today, and I was gonna call you in closer to the kickoff for the season to tell you. I've been wanting to tell you my Notre Dame origin story real quick. Today might be the only chance I get to do that. So just want to say thanks for sending me out the koozies and stickers for Always Irish, man. But
oh man, wait a second. So you're saying you were in that original crop that many years ago when
yes,
oh man, dude, that means you're in the original crew, man. I remember going in my work office and just telling people, if you want this stuff, I'll send it to you for free just to get the word out. That means the world to me, man. We were tiny back then. I don't even think I had 100 or 200 subs. That was a long time ago. Thanks for the loyalty,
relic, dude. I've got a Notre Dame. I got an Always Irish relic. Yeah, you sent it out to me, man. I'm actually in the chat as Phoenix Creative. I usually watching on YouTube, but had a chance to chat a few times during the live shows. But I'm always catching your shows on YouTube when they're always over. So I'm just like, man, I got to call in. But hey, man, let me tell you, I don't want to take up too much time. I know there's a lot of people that are.
Sure, go for it, man.
I love the show.
Go for it.
But yeah, so my Notre Dame origin story, man, goes all the way back. So I was born in 1983. So I really became a fan. It was the Christmas year of 93. And I just remember this because my mother, who had just recently passed away a couple years ago, was taking me Christmas shopping for my cousin. And I asked what he wanted. And he said, well, get me a sweatshirt of either Ohio State or Notre Dame. So I went there and I looked at the two and I went with the gold helmet, right, as a 10-year-old. And after that, man, I fell in love with Notre Dame. I caught the very first game was that College Game Day. That Florida State Notre Dame game was the first time I ever tuned in to watch a game.
Oh man.
And I watched. Yeah, dude, my very first ever time watching a college football game. I was 10 years old. Was the first College Game Day Florida State game. So I remember just like I didn't have enough money to buy any Notre Dame gear. I was 10 years old, you know what I mean, and it was quick on the fly. So I just quickly painted on my blue jeans some green shamrocks for Notre Dame. You know, I'm a creative guy, so I guess that kind of worked out years later. But man, and then the very next week, we know what happened with Boston College, right?
Unfortunately, I'm trying not to think about it, but yes, I'm very aware of that dynamic. It's the maddest I've ever seen my father in my entire life, and I'll never forget it. It was a seminal moment in my youth. Let's put it that way.
Can you think of a better, more natural, authentic experience to onboard a Notre Dame fan than that right there? Does that not just sum up? That's it.
It sets you up. It sets you up for the highest of the highs and the lowest of the lows right away. Your first year you were invested, you got that roller coaster. Congratulations.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And I got to years later, a big Cincinnati Bengals fan. I'm here in Northern Kentucky, so I got to attend the Bengals draft party in 2013, and we selected Tyler Eifert, and that was a total surprise to everyone in the room. I just remember I'm the Notre Dame fan, like, yeah, we got Tyler Eifert.
And now you got Al. Now you got old Uncle Al coming back to town, man. Right? Yeah. So you're gonna have that, and we're gonna have to see if Ash can keep the defense from crumbling dashes. We'll see.
Yeah, man, it's great because I know a lot of Bengals fans are like very, you know, well, we went through a lot. It takes a lot of patience to be a Bengals fan, but we do seem to be pretty excited. I was torn losing Al Golden, but getting them to back to the Bengals. But I'm hoping the best for him, man. And I do want to say also one last thing is I did get a chance to finally attend my first Irish home game ever at Notre Dame Stadium, and this was in 2021, the season opener, the home opener versus Toledo. If you remember that game, we almost lost.
I do recall that. That was a stressful situation, and if a couple tiny little things went different, you were going to lose that game, and you could argue maybe you should have, but you got away with it. Man, I love having you in the fold, man. Thanks for calling.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. I'm going to still keep tuning in, and if I get another chance to call in the future, I will. I'll keep rocking Always Irish. And Johnny, go Irish.
Ooh, I like that. You got to call me back and do more than voices. You know I like silly, stupid voices. They're my favorite, and I have one, so who am I to judge? I got to tell you, I was thinking about some of the most unbearable Notre Dame moments, like the most miserable. And I brought up that I'm a changed person after Bush Push and being there and seeing and feeling all that live. I've never been the same after that night with Bush Push. But I got to tell you guys, that South Florida loss was very, very unique in a different way than like even Bush Push, where you play a great team tough and then you lose or whatever. That may be one that stands out to me. It was against the Holtz, so that rubs it in your face even more. The problem with it was, if you're going to embarrass yourself at home to ruin your entire season early in the year, can you at least just get it over with in 4 hours and let us go be miserable? But no. There had to be 18 storm delays with people leaving the stadium and coming back in. And then every time we came back in and you thought we were going to get it together, we had another turnover. Didn't we have like 7 turnovers that week or whatever? I'm telling you, it was an unbelievably painful experience. It was like bleeding out slowly, like just get it over with. The fact that it took 8 or 9 hours to lose that game in that way to that guy, and to see Kelly turn in purple, the whole thing was terrible. And then guess where I was for that? No, I wasn't at the game. I was at Pat's house, and Pat got a keg for the day. So then you end up with me and Pat pounding beer all day while we are miserable, and we already don't do well watching games together. It was a long day. It was a long, unfortunate day. It was a lot of me at my worst. I mean, it was really bad. Yeah, let's not forget Kelly did lose to Navy multiple times. Kelly did lose to Navy. Pat, there were some benefits to that. I mean, I had fun later. Like, there were some fun parts to it, but a very, very long, miserable day overall for us. I got to tell you, it was, yeah, Pat, good ending for me. And we'll leave those details out. It was a good ending for me, but a really rough day. A really, really, really rough day. Back when John drank during games, his prime years. Yeah, it was Jay Carr. Let's just say it ended up working out. That it ended up being okay. There were some things that salvaged the day a little bit. Okay. Everything you guys are writing is hilarious. Oh man. Oh God. This is the chat. You guys are so creative. Oh God, that's funny. You guys are so creative. And the funny part is, all I did is make a vague reference that that ended up being a good night. And then and I'm like, that's vague enough. Nobody's going to end it. And you all went right there and you were all right. Let's just say, yeah, I was neither married nor in a relationship with anybody at the time. So back off. All right? Back off. But I just think, yeah, I sang Sweet Caroline that night for sure. My favorite. That's my favorite song. Look at Pat, man. He's got my back legally here. I was neither married nor in a relationship, but I got to admit, I didn't put my best foot forward. That's for sure. I was completely miserable and very, very wasted. I blame Pat for that. Oh boy, that is really funny. You guys are hilarious. You guys are on it. Oh boy. Let me see. I had another chat I wanted to do here. Look at this from Nikki Dean. I just hate the fact Georgia fans say we had the second string QB. That's the whole problem with that whole thing is they were the ones saying he's better than the other one. We're going to be better. And then right when Notre Dame beat him, it turned into you only beat us because we didn't have our quarterback. And it's like, well, which is it? Which is it? You can't have it both ways. You can't have it both ways. Like you just can't. And so that was annoying. But it did feel good to beat the SEC champs since they're the fancy ones, the big bad conference and all this stuff. Football was never fun again for players or fans after that game. I just can't. It was just tough, man. But that was a uniquely painful situation because the death took 8 hours instead of 3.5, and it was just bad. But when you have good friends like Pat, you can make a party out of anything. And it was a depression party, but he did his best to cheer me up. He did, Pat. He delivers, man. He delivers. All right, guys. Oh boy. Okay. So now would be probably a good time to end the show before the old college stories come out. You guys are hilarious. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the chats. We're going live Monday. I don't care whether it is a holiday or not. I'm going live. I'm going live Monday morning. So we'll see you there. Thanks for the calls. Thanks for the chats. Thanks for all of it. Be good. Have a good one.